showing out, making moves, no doubt. FFA pride, it's what we're all about. From classroom dreams to real world flair, we got the stories you won't find anywhere. Beyond the jacket where the stories unfold, voices of the future, fearless and bold. Tune in now, let the passion ignite. It's more than a jacket, it's a way of life. Beyond the jacket where passion meets purpose.
Welcome back to the Beyond the Jacket podcast. I'm excited for you to be here this Friday interacting with Miss Chloe Beal. She is a fantastic FFA member with quite a unique FFA journey. Why don't you introduce yourself, Chloe?
Hi, I'm Chloe Beal. I'm from the Columbia FFA chapter.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Chloe. Can you tell us where you're from and how your FFA journey started?
I'm from Columbia, Missouri, and my FFA journey started really unique because I'm actually homeschooled. I've been homeschooled since K to 12 now.
Well, that's super cool. I don't think we've had a student on the podcast yet that has been homeschooled as well as an FFA. So can you tell us a little bit about that process? Just because I don't know about it, and I think our listeners would think it was cool.
Yeah, okay. So my city offers something really unique, which is a career center. So it has a lot of technical classes like ag classes, auto shop classes, welding, stuff like that. It also has a lot of medical classes too. So about my freshman year, my mom decided that it would benefit me if I went to a public school and took some public school classes just to make sure if I wanted to go to college, that wouldn't be my first time in a classroom setting. So I started looking into classes probably my freshman year, and I signed up for the next year, sophomore year classes. I remember the classes I had my heart set on was one, welding, because I wanted to be a welder. And then I wanted to be in the cert welding, which is where you get your certification, and then an ag mech class, which is obviously an ag class. I didn't get into that ag class. I was put in a intro class with a bunch of freshmen, which was not what I wanted. And that was a really unique experience. I met my teacher, Miss Wagner. Love Miss Wagner. And she kind of helped me through public school through that class. So I didn't want to join FFA. I didn't want another thing. I'm in 4-H. I'm in Civil Air Patrol. You know, I'm busy like every day for those. So I just didn't want another thing on my schedule. But then I kind of got pushed, and we can get into that a little bit more if we want.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of a trend for FFA members. They join ag class and then slowly integrate themselves into FFA. What was it like walking into your first classroom, especially like an ag class?
So being 16 years old, never being in a public school, I actually got lost. Like the first day, I couldn't find anywhere I was supposed to be. I am a very social homeschooler, I've been told. I mean, if someone's like, hey, you want to speak in front of a bunch of people? I'm raising my hand. I'd love to. So I was asking people, like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And they're like, really? I see that you're a sophomore on here. I'm like, yeah, but I'm homeschooled. I've never been in a school. And I was like, whoa, you know? I was really nervous. I didn't know any of the apps. It took me 2 weeks to finally ask the question, what is Schoology and what are we talking about? I didn't know my student number. I didn't know anything that a typical kid my age would know, through the, like, where to go, how to look at your grades, things like that. But actually my ag teacher was the one who helped me. So I think that really helped me start to maybe be like, maybe I'll do FFA.
Yeah, having that resource is so important. I've said it a trillion times on the podcast that having an ag teacher is almost having like another built-in mom or another mentor. There's a lot more than a teacher. An added resource, someone to go to for personal as well as academic situations. So I'm glad you had that resource and somebody you could go to. Personally, I can't relate. I was in public school through middle school and high school, and I think that's definitely a difficult transition. I know it was when I switched from a smaller private school to public school in middle school, but as far as like completely different worlds as homeschool is, I resonate with the difficulty of that. where did you find welding as an interest? Was it
Okay,
through school or maybe through homeschool?
so my parents have pushed me to be unique, like as much of myself as I possibly can. So when I was younger, I knew I didn't want an office job. I didn't. The thought of sitting at a desk genuinely made me like didn't want to grow up. Like, no way, I'm not going to a desk. I'm not sitting there all day. That was like that's like saying like, oh, I'm gonna throw you in like a river and you don't know how to swim. Like I that was something that I didn't want to do. But I've met a lot of people through my church camp who have welded before, and every welder that I had met were like the best people I've ever met, which isn't something you typically hear about welders. Normally, you hear that they're really rough and they're a little bit crazy, but the ones that I knew were really nice, and they were talking to me about it. And fire, they're talking about fire, metal. You're melting metal. You're working with a bunch of dangerous things, and that was something that um, really sparked interest in me. So when I was signing up for classes, getting that certification, I was like, what I should take this free class and see if I like it, and I ended up loving it. So
Well, that's super exciting. And to be able to pursue welding as maybe a potential career and have FFA facilitate your learning in that. What is the basis of your SAE, Chloe? What do you make? What do you sculpt? Do you sell your products? Are you kind of like a fixer? Um, what is your SAE? Tell us the ins and outs of that.
So my SAE actually has been working at Chick-fil-A for my last 2 years in FFA, but this year I really wanted to step up and do new SAE where it will promote my welding journey. And so I'm going to be in an advanced ag mechanics class this year. So we're still working out the blueprint for it. But I'm hoping to work with some of my ag teachers and maybe do some trailer fixing or just something that will really help promote that builds mindset for me before I go off into the field.
No, I think that's a great way to transition. Personally, I had no idea that working in a restaurant could be an SAE. Could you tell me a little bit about how that works?
So basically, I was talking to my ag teacher, and I worked at Chick-fil-A, and I didn't really want to start an SAE, and she's like, you already have one. And I was like, I don't understand what you mean, but I learned a lot about chicken production in at Chick-fil-A, and I learned a lot about how that works and how that affects the ag industry, because we only sell chicken. That's the only meat that we sell. That is part of the SAE because it's a part of the agriculture process for processing chickens.
Hey, that's kind of cool. I didn't know that. So, individuals that might have a unique SAE or work in an industry like that, you can learn from Chloe and apply that to your FFA experiences. In your classes, Chloe, do you prefer more hands-on projects or maybe in the classroom projects? Is there a particular part you prefer more?
I like when, I like testing, honestly. A lot of people like learning it, but my favorite part is testing it because personally, I put 120,000% into everything I do. So when I do testing, I really like to challenge myself. Like, I like to imagine I'm getting paid to do this. This is a building that like thousands of people are walking in. And I have that mindset every time I weld. And so every time I build something, fabricate something for like a test, I try so hard. And that's just something that's really fun for me. A lot of people say you'll get bored in classes like cert welding or ag mechanics because you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. But that's actually something that I really like.
That's super cool. And what has been your favorite project that you've built so far?
My favorite project was my first project I made, which was in my intro to agriculture class, actually. I made a little chicken, which I thought the weld on it were so bad. I hated it. But my mom actually really loved it, which I was like, this is the easy, I show her like my bend tests and stuff, which are really, really hard to do. And I show her this chicken and she's in love with it. And she's like, oh my gosh, make me 20 more of these. And it's like the easiest thing I've ever done. So that's probably my favorite because I didn't really like it because it's so easy to make, but my mom ended up loving it a lot. And I just realized that just because something wasn't super challenging to make doesn't mean that it's less than something that's super challenging to make.
It sounds like you enjoy a challenge, and I do too. What has been the most challenging part learning how to weld?
I'm the only girl in my classes. As someone who's homeschooled, I didn't know a lot of things, and that is a really rough environment to be in a class of just teenage boys, especially if you are homeschooled. When they find that out, they kind of tease you about it. So just learning how to kind of navigate that probably would be the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I was always in our ag communications classes, which makes sense. That's my passion, whereas welding is yours. I had never faced that, but I do know our ag mechanics classes could get a little rowdy.
Yeah.
Teenage boys have so much energy.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that's
they
not to
do.
say anything bad will go on and be business professionals one day. Who knows?
Yeah.
Is there a project that you've made that you were like, oh my gosh, I made that? I am so proud of myself.
Yes. So this past school year, I learned how to use a CNC machine and do CNC design. I actually designed a sign for my archery teacher. I went to shooting sports nationals again this year, and I decided that I wanted to make my coach a gift, and I designed a sign for my coach, and she's a big sign person, and she has a lot of CNC machines and things like that. And so designing one myself, making it for her, polishing it, and then giving it to her and seeing her reaction that I made and designed that was just such a rewarding moment for me, because I remember in that class, like, I wanted to give up. I wanted to stop making it. Like, I told my ag teacher, Praisewater at the time, like, this is such a waste of my time. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. But just seeing the finished product and seeing how it positively impacts people is just something that I really liked.
Absolutely. Is there a piece of equipment like this machine that you enjoy using the most? And then can you tell me how it's used?
Okay, so there's two machines that we use to cut metal in my shop. There's a plasma cutter, which is super easy to use. You just pull the trigger and it does a really straight line. And then there's the oxy fuel
Okay.
cutter. The oxy fuel cutter has argon and then like an oxygen mix, and you have to know how to mix it. Like, if you turn the acetylene too high, it could explode. So you have to be very attentive when you're using it. And not a lot of the kids in my classes remember how to use it, but I remember how to use it because it's my favorite. Because it's like it's a flame, it's an open flame that you're using. That's like thousands of degrees you're using to cut metal, and I just think that it's so cool. Like, oh, I love it so much.
That is super cool, especially because I have no welding background. But the pressure it takes to run those machines and do them correctly, you said it could explode. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a moment where something that you were working on didn't go as planned? And then how did you learn from that?
Yeah, so during my certification test, so we practice the entire year, like the entire year. All you're doing is bead, grinding in the certification class. And you're just bending tests and you're practicing. And I was really nervous for this because I had been basically building up to this for over 2 school years. So that is that's a lot of time. And so I was really nervous, and my teacher was like, dude, you got this. Like, I've seen you weld, chill out. Like, you need to chill out. You'll be fine. But I still took it very, very seriously. And I remember I was practicing for mine, and my jeans caught on fire. And I stayed calm. I got my jeans out of fire.
Oh my god.
But I remember just being so frustrated because things kept going wrong. My rod kept sticking because I was doing stick at the time. I was just so frustrated. It's probably really hot in that shop because you have to wear so much stuff. You're welding, it's really hot. And so I remember just being so frustrated because everything was going wrong. Even though my test was completely fine, everything around it was going so wrong. It was just so frustrating for me.
I can imagine. That is a scary situation, but at least you were able to stay calm. And figure it out, which are all good skills to have. Is there a specific skill besides welding that welding has taught you?
To always plan. I when I first started, I always wanted to like put stuff together. Never wanted to plan it out. But after I've learned that if you plan, not just welding, but if I plan my day, it'll go better. If I plan my project, it'll go better. Having a solid plan in case something goes wrong to fall back on is always it's so important to be able to carry yourself through life.
Absolutely. I'm a planner. I have to have my calendar put together at every moment. If not, then I am a chicken with my head cut off. Like
Yeah.
I can't function without knowing what's going on. And I think we're very similar in that aspect, Chloe. What has been the most rewarding part of your FFA journey? Has it been the friends? Has it been what you've learned? Is it breaking yourself out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, so I didn't want to join FFA like I said. And my ag teacher really pushed me to do a knowledge team that I didn't want to do. Just because she knew that I had gone to nationals for hunting skills in 4-H, which is a very knowledge-based thing, and I won. We did really, really well my year. And so she was really pushing me.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My friend Allie really, really wanted me to. And I remember being like, yeah, I don't want to do it. And she stared at me and she goes, Chloe, it's $25 and you get out of school. Just pay the $25. Like, what are you going to lose? $25? Really? Like, don't let this dedicate your life, just do it. Worst case, never show up. Like, you don't have to show up to everything. So, because I let Allie tell me what to do, I decided to join. And slowly as I went to more and more things, I realized that I loved it. I stepped out of my comfort zone last year by doing exemplary speaking. I hated it. I'm a prepared speaker. So that was something that I decided to try, learned that I didn't like it that much, but I don't regret it at all. Um, I'm really glad that they've kind of pushed me to try things. Like, I'm someone who loves a new challenge, but someone kind of has to push me to do it. So I was pushed to be the reporter for our chapter this year, and I don't regret a single thing. Like, that's something you hear a lot about people in FFA, that they don't the only things that they regret are the opportunities that they didn't take. Like, I regret not joining earlier. That's the only thing.
I love that, Chloe. That's sweet. And to have those people and those peers around you that push you to achieve more and work harder are special people to have. Um, I also had a really good friend in FFA that was like, what's the worst that could happen? They say no, you mess up, you learn a new skill. Just taking that leap of faith and moving forward, and with the mindset of it's okay to mess up. It's okay if things don't go as planned. It's just as important to know what you like to do as you don't want to do, just like you were saying with extemporaneous speaking. How has those leadership positions impacted you, Chloe? What skills have you learned? Have you met new people? How has that helped you grow?
So I've done leadership a lot in like 4-H and Civil Air Patrol. I mean, I'm a national shooting sports ambassador in 4-H. So going into FFA, I was like, I'm already like a leader. I've already gone to a bunch of institutes. I mean, I knew I could always grow from it, but now being a leader in FFA, it's a lot smaller, but it's still very strict, like when I'm on the national level. And I think that it's really helped me grow in the public school. So my ag community is actually really unique because of the Career Center. There's 4 public high schools in my area that is in the same FFA chapter, and then we have private schools and home schools. We actually have 6 ag teachers. So it's really helped me grow to like know people from different schools, because I'm homeschooled, so I didn't really like get to know these people. A lot of these people have known each other since they're like really young. I didn't know any of them. It's really helped me to expand knowing people outside of my homeschool communities and 4-H communities. So
No, your FFA journey is so unique, Chloe, and to be able to grow and learn and use these skills to better yourself is a great way that FFA and 4 H have impacted you. Is there a piece of advice that you would give to a young individual like yourself who wants to go into FFA but is also homeschooled?
Um, don't let people tell you what you can and can't do. I let people tell me what I can and can't do when I was trying to sign up for classes, so I didn't get the classes I wanted. This year I finally got them. Just don't let them tell you that's something not for a lady like you, or that you are too homeschooled to be able to handle it, because you know yourself, they don't know you. So always be your own advocate.
I think that's a great piece of advice is to stand up for yourself, and you know what you love and where you want to go, and your ability to push beyond the odds or what individuals told you, and to be a welder and to be involved even when things didn't always go as planned. Chloe, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You are a joy to get to know and learn about your FFA experience. Members, if you want to learn or hear more about Chloe's FFA journey, be sure to watch her episode and continue watching every Friday.